Hello everybody and welcome to the final set of Let's Plays for the second game in COMP3218 Game Design at the University of Southampton. I'm Iguana Prince, I'm one of the lecturers on this course, and with me I've got
Rachel Day. I'm a PhD student and I did this course last year.
I'm Tom Brown, I'm a PhD student and I've been helping teach some of the lectures on the course.
Callum Sportheth, I'm yet another PhD student and I also did this course last year.
Okay, so in this coursework we asked the students to make a narrative game that had a bit of a story engine. Tom's going to tell us a little bit more about what they had to do for this coursework.
So yeah, we asked the students to make a small game prototype with this story engine, which means the gameplay had to affect the narrative and vice versa. We asked them to make their prototype based on one of three different fairy tales, either the Frog Prince, the Three Billy Goats Gruff, or Rumpelstiltskin.
Excellent. I'm glad you remembered all of those. Okay, we're going to go straight into the first game, which is called the Iguana Prince. Now, who saw this in the expo?
So I saw this one in the expo.
Yeah. Do you want to play it or shall I play it?
It's up to you.
Oh, is it now? Okay. Let's both. You do the mouse, I'll do the keyboard.
Perfect. Do you even need the
So
mouse?
when you're near a character, press E to initiate dialogue. The game is relatively bug-free, except for one small bug where the first time dialogue is initiated, E must be pressed twice.
Excellent.
I mean, at least
that's up front.
Yeah.
Quite useful for like demos and prototypes. Like
Yeah.
if there's a known problem, then warn people. Maybe we don't need the mouse. Yeah, mouse. Space to jump. And E to I think we might remember.
So you've got your current task. Go into the house and speak to your father. So you are playing as some sort of like
It
tin
does look like
man.
it's on fire. Why are we going
I
into
think
the flaming house?
That's just a torch.
The art assets are quite nice.
Okay, so after a momentary hiccup with Ricky's laptop, we are back.
Wait, it wasn't my laptop.
It was all your laptop.
Aren't you meant to be talking to this
The
dude?
game makes it an important thing to put the mouse in the bottom left-hand corner, which is my hot corner.
So we've got to press
blocking
E
the screen.
twice, remember?
That's
Oh, yeah.
First one. There we go.
Hey.
Hello, sweet daughter of mine. You look different. You're telling me it's these generic art assets.
Yeah.
We live inside an artificial reality. No, twisted mind.
Okay.
Oh no, okay. Now it's sort of forcing us into talking about this golden ball.
But I don't care about the golden ball.
Do you not?
No.
I wonder how far we can go down this.
I love how there's an entire dialogue round devoted to being meta.
How much dialogue has been written just for this?
That
There we go.
The game actually
did
crashed.
it do that on purpose?
I think it might have
or-
done that on purpose.
No.
Not after we were just talking about games that crash on purpose.
Non-reference exception of.
That
No,
came
but that
up,
was there
that
all
came
along.
up when with the first bug.
Well, we'll keep this bit because I think that's interesting. Right, let's
Right,
Okay.
let's not do that dialogue.
Let's
please.
go
Oh,
through
but that was
one of the
fine.
15 different phrases.
Well, I really want
have
to see what
lost.
the end of that is, but I don't want to go through it again if the outcome is that actually that it always crashes.
So should I just?
Yeah, let's
just go for
do the bit that it tells us to. Shut up, Dad! I'm not crying.
I do like the dialogue in this game.
Yeah. Leave. Do you reckon we need to leave that way? I mean, that's what's visible on screen.
Well, yeah, only because that's where you put the camera.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
but
true.
I don't really have that much control over where I put the camera. It only kind of
So
turns
you have
about
to
that
go
much.
Over there to those torches, I think, the other side of the fence. You need to go out the way you came in, which not fantastic level design, right? If there's
Yeah. Like why
you
put
just sneak through the
why put this gap? Why put that gap here if it's not
Like,
an option?
yeah, the camera control.
Are you clicked into the Unity? Like if you click into the...
Yeah, you just can't turn it more than that.
I've seen this in some other games. I feel like there's some Unity camera.
So there are the torches. I mean, which is again, it's nice. It's sort of signposting your way.
Is it though? Like, if you hadn't told me that, I'm not sure I would have gone towards the torches.
You reckon?
Did the guy tell me to go towards the torches?
No. Is that?
That's an iguana.
Oh, it's an iguana. I thought it was like a dead frog.
Welcome to my pond.
What?
Wait, how are you
speaking?
Oh, okay. So I think these dialogue options actually do affect.
I guess
The
we'll
story?
see.
Wait. So this is interesting. So in that previous one where we went down like the rabbit hole, it sort of gave us too much agency. But here, it's sort of, we've had a bit of choice, but it's like joined us back in to say, no, actually, you've got to say something about
I
it.
like the fact it was two ways of saying the same thing, so it
Yeah.
gave you at least a sense of agency.
Well,
Even though
it was a polite way of saying it and rude way of saying it, essentially. And I think this sort of tree follows that same path. So the first one was just two completely separate dialogue branches, right? It was Golden Ball and Log.
It was interesting. Like,
whereas this one is very much sort
That's
of split join.
is that the right place to put it in as well? Like, is the very first dialogue where you can let the player just like wander off and get engaged and like be interested? Like, we like this game a lot more because it let us like have that interesting dialogue. Whereas here we've reached a point where the player has to do something to progress.
Oh, this is fantastic.
I think we can say that Rach likes this. What? Fine. Okay. Whatever. You can come home with me if you get that ball back. Oh. Well, it's a little bit of a shame there wasn't a cutscene there to do that. I guess it's worth mentioning that this student had to work on their own towards the end.
Oh, that's so
cool! I've got an iguana backpack.
I can't turn the camera for you to go that way.
they've definitely done quite nice things with the aesthetics in this game.
You reckon?
In what way?
in the fact that we have an iguana attached to our back.
I'll agree that I like the iguana backpack.
I think it's a nice touch rather than it just being power. You have +1 iguanas in your inventory.
Yeah.
But it also, it's in terms of sort of the actual level design, the aesthetics of that. While it's not AAA,
Is it not?
it's it doesn't feel sort of hacked together, if that makes sense.
Have you got a magical? How does he know it's magical? That's what I want to say. How do you know it's magical?
Because it's somehow attached to his back.
Wait. Was that over?
In the corner
Can't
of
you
the
just
house for
execute
you.
it off what?
I never said I owed it a debt.
You did, I think.
It's another nice use of dialogue there.
So he's now basically directly behind you.
In the corner of
In
the
the
house
corner of
we
the house
use
that
for
we sleep in.
sleeping.
Is he on fire?
No.
Can we set him on
So
fire?
I'm pretty sure when I saw this in the expo, the camera did move more than it is at the minute.
It might be that Rachel's just terrible at cameras.
It's possible.
Try cameraing then, Tom.
No.
Ooh, I can do it that way.
Yeah, let's top down. I think we get a better angle.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
There's your iguana just there.
Oh, okay, what do we have to do with this
You just have to
iguana?
go and speak to him. You got your goal in the top left.
I sort of feel like that's all a little bit hidden. It's way in, it's like way in my periphery. I'm not because I'm focusing on action down here. In
Because
terms
we're
of
playing on a massive screen.
well, sure.
Yeah, it's a bit small, but also if in a sort of full-fledged game, you don't want it sort of taking up the.
Well, maybe not the
Action.
goals. Maybe not the goals, and maybe there should be some UI to highlight that there is a goals thing that I should occasionally be looking at.
I mean,
Or maybe it flashes
there was
when
at the start. It said your goals will appear in the top left.
No, Tom. UI in the game, not a bit of UI before you get into the game. A bit of UI in the game. But more importantly, put E to speak over the top. That needs to be where the character is because I need to know which character that I'm.
So I'm guessing this dialogue changes depending on
Yeah,
your
absolutely.
options
So
and
this is
things.
based on whether you pick nice option or nasty option.
Just on the topic of the UI for a second, I think it'd be quite nice if some of the more of the signposting was done sort of didactically in the game, such as the iguana saying, "Hey, come over here, look at me, talk to me," kind of thing.
Yeah.
Just
Oh.
He's gone.
So you went to sleep, you wake up, and now he's a prince.
Oh, okay.
can we get the iguana back?
I prefer the. Is the prince going to jump on our back? I'm no magical iguana, but a prince bewitched by a
You're reading it slow.
I'm just off now.
Do the sad
To your
one.
help, but you're a bit of a knob.
Congratulations, you have completed the game.
Oh man.
So, what do we think, guys?
I like how the prince is sort of, "Oh yeah, I'll be off now." He sort of stands there looking into your eyes.
Yeah, like a little cutscene thing at the end. I mean, so given the fact that it was a single student working on this in the end. I think the fact there's little bits of polish missing like that. So I know I mentioned the UI there, but like that was just an ideal case.
Yeah.
Just because it happened to like irritate me a little bit then. But like that's not a thing that we were expecting to happen in this situation.
I understand that they were working like with limited resources, and I like that they've basically acknowledged that in like through like just so like we said at the start, like yeah, this is a bug, just be aware of it. That's good when you're showing somebody a prototype, but also like within the game saying like, oh father, you look different. What? Yes, it's all of these lazy art assets people have been using. Like that just kind of tickled me.
The dialogue.
But like I don't think that was even because of like the limited resources. Like that's just I think that was just good writing given the like the engine they were using and the like all that they were asked to use. It was it's very self-aware.
I think in general the writing and the way the writing branches has been done quite well in this.
So shall we talk about like sort of overall quality?
Yes, that is the first thing we should talk about.
So
it seems alright.
I mean, it's alright. You can move around. You can talk to people. There's not
the
a
camera
lot
control
of the
is a
game.
shame. Like moving around would be a lot easier with that. But if that was working in the export, then
Yeah, I feel like doing that on controller rather than on mouse might have been
maybe
a slicker move because you don't really need quick twitchy control of the view on this. You just sort of need to be able to occasionally rotate to be able to like look at the person you're looking at. Maybe make it third person, like make it a third person camera and just always be behind the behind the character. Like there's not like the mechanic of moving the camera hasn't added anything to the gameplay of this. That's what I'm getting at.
Speaking of gameplay, there's not a lot of it. It's a case of it's one we've seen a lot of actually. It's go here, talk to person, go here, talk to other person, go here, interact with object, go here, talk to person.
It was entirely that as well. Like there was no
only
no even like collection or puzzle solving or anything like that.
collecting iguana.
Just that's what I was going to say actually. That's sort of the only bit that stood out as quite as a gameplay element, the sort of carrying the iguana on your back to the house. And I quite like the fact they took the time to put the iguana on your back rather than just saying run back to the house and talk to the iguana that's magically here.
Okay. I feel like that's only an extra variable to set on top of like putting it like setting the state of having iguana. But like there wasn't really any gameplay where there was choice. Like I have the option to walk around, but there's no other things I can do. Like I can't go over here and collect apples off the tree or something as like a side quest just because I fancy it. There's not another thing to do other than linearly follow the story.
So speaking of choice, what do you think of the story engine?
There definitely is one.
So there is one there.
You
Did we see it change? Like
we saw some dialogue change.
Okay.
So we picked the route options to the prince, and then when we spoke to the prince, he said, "Yeah, you're a bit of an old one off. If you
And
pick
the
all of the
iguana
nice
called
options."
me a vile creature.
Do we know that he doesn't do that?
Well, I was going to say, we can find out.
Yeah, we could do that.
I don't know where I am now, so I'm going to start again so I can get back to that house.
So it's interesting because in your dialogue with the king at the start, he sort of like you have this little meta conversation about, oh well, we only have this small patch of land but even the small patch of land is probably a little bit too big.
Yeah. Like for given the only thing you want to happen in this game, like by decision, was go to this person, talk to them, go to this person, talk to them. You're right. The expansive land. This is a problem. Like
it's
a repeated problem,
thing, right?
recurring theme in the narrative games is, hey, let's make the biggest world possible because every narrative game we've ever played before is an enormous open world action adventure game or an RPG. So let's make our game massive. But unless you're making use of that space, it's not worth it. Like constrain your player.
I mean, so they have sort of constrained it a bit, sort of like with the mountains around the outside, but even.
But it's sort of, you don't get as far as that.
Bit, right?
Yeah, you don't even go as far as that because there's what's it called, wall. There's like an invisible wall. Say all the nice things this time, Rich. So what sort of maybe when you're talking about sort of expansive land and narrative games, I started thinking about Grim Fandango, and like that's pretty restricted for the options you have. I know it's like early resi 2D, but with 3D, like 2D scenes with 3D in front of it, but. Like within a scene, you don't have very many places to go, and then out like even between scenes or in the scenes, you've got a little bit of wandering around, but it sort of makes it worth it by having other things to do.
That's
Like
like
they, you
classic
might not
adventure
have
game stuff, right? It's
yeah.
there is slightly more space than you need, but they pack that space full of like extra narrative-y stuff.
Yeah. So like, if instead of this expanse over here, there was something to like, if there was a market going on and there were people to talk to, even if they only did like added to the characterization.
Like even if they just said "Hello, Princess," and then when you had an iguana on your back, they said "Hello, Princess. Why is there an iguana on your back?"
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Then
Like again, that's sort of another example of like the story engine affecting the sort of narrative based on game state.
and quite simple. It doesn't have to necessarily add to the story, but it does mean you could do characterization. They could say things about like how much they like or dislike the king, or like, hey. If you go to them before finding the iguana, hey, I saw a weird animal down by the lake, or something like that.
The new Zelda game does that quite a lot with, for example, if you're not wearing clothes, NPCs picking up on it, but it really adds to that sort of sense of immersion in the game, and just that extra little bit of polish goes a long way.
Yeah.
Alright, so what do you reckon about the poetics and the pacing?
Poetics is, alright. Like,
Oh my god, a prince! This is the day I've been waiting for.
Can we edit the game and just say Ricky Prince?
oh yeah. So due to the kindness you have shown me, I would like to ask for your hand in marriage.
For starters, like 5 minutes or so of playtime.
So poetics.
Fine,
I
be
mean,
nice.
like
Poetics and techniques.
it tells you the story, like the story pretty straightforwardly, other than where they've had to write bits to like handle the case where you don't follow the exact story.
It's not especially mirrored through the gameplay, but that's partly because there's not a
There's
whole
no
lot of
gameplay.
gameplay.
Yeah.
So one thing I quite like in the dialogue was the fact that each sort of branch distinctly had a theme to it, such as the opening branch being "Let's be meta about this," or the iguana branch being "Let's be a bit of a dick." And I think some dialogue systems cannot do that. They can take away the choice of like, I would like to be a dick in this game.
Yeah. So is that poetics, Tom? Is that not saying that was a like I take your point, but I mean, is the fact that they've added interesting dialogue, is that part of the poetics? I mean, some of that takes you away from the storyline.
Yeah, it does.
So it doesn't directly add to it, but like it adds to the experience. Like I think it does make it
The consistent
fun
theme.
and play. Yeah.
I'd probably file that under sort of techniques and sort of like specifically the writing. It's just quite good quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So poetics, like because it follows the story directly, then absolutely. But like they haven't. There's not enough gameplay there to say whether the gameplay mirrors it.
That's like the narrative is told just through somebody telling you the narrative rather than through the mechanics of the game. But
okay.
All right. Next bit: techniques and pacing. So when I spoke to them in the expo about this, they said, it's a relatively sort of low drama experience. It's more of a walking simulator. It's more of a sort of exploring and talking to people. And I mean, yes. And again, I think that's partly down to sort of like some of the constraints they were working with. But yeah, it does feel a sort of very low drama game because it's just go here, talk to person, go here, talk to person. There's not a lot at stake really.
But what could they have added to make that happen? I mean, you've sort of got these lulls and interactions.
What you're
between,
wandering endlessly across the desert.
Yeah, you endlessly walk across the desert and then you meet the character and there's some progression. Like it's not really a big drama spike. I guess it's an interest spike. But yeah, I guess not a lot of variation in the pacing. It's just sort of everything happens at the same rate.
Techniques-wise, we mentioned it'd be nice if maybe there was a cutscene or so.
Yeah, they could have made some nice.
Like particularly at the end, where instead of it's just you finish the game, press escape to exit, like something there.
Yeah.
I mean, even like again, because we're not sort of judging this on like artistic quality, so even like a sort of fade to black and some sort of text over those things, like just some sort of other technique of ending the game in a sort of satisfying manner would be nice. But yeah, overall, it's not badly put together. Like obviously there are lots of places that could use some polish, and it could be developed further into something nice. I think.
Yeah, excellent writing as well. I think
nice
that combined with like having the technical ability of another person would have I think really added polish to this and would have been a really really nice game. As it is, excellent for the time available.
Right, should we move on?
Okay, our next game is called Goats Stuff.
Goats
Goats
Stuff.
Did you see
So
this
yeah,
time?
I saw this one in the expo as well.
What's the stuff?
Wizards, I think. I can't quite remember.
Press Q to progress. Why did they have a different name on the title screen to the actual game? Okay. I'm not sure what that little point light is just off the screen.
Prairie and Wales.
Wales.
Does Wales have prairies? Don't know. So again, sort of exposition by text dump.
Yeah, like
It's not the best way of doing it. Certainly, like even if like so I said in the last game, like we're not judging this on necessarily artistic quality. If you feel that you can't like draw or put together like a AAA cutscene, that's fine. But don't just put a paragraph of text on the screen. Break it up somehow.
like the things that we've seen that like cheat this really nicely so far have done things like just panned across the game view and use that as like a mini cutscene,
Exactly.
or even just had a picture that you're sort of like panning and zooming into. Gives you something like
one
that.
of the first games we saw just sort of basically gave the player one line of text just as they moved through the game.
Thomas with a goat.
Yeah, Thomas with a
So
goat.
delivering it slowly is better than just a text dump.
I think voiceovers can really add to that as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it saves us having to read this.
Use of techniques.
But I think like this is gating us as well. Like we could be like doing the tutorial of the game without having like whilst this is being delivered. Eventually go to the bridge partially crumbled. Okay, little goes to okay. Don't touch enemies or fall in water. Arrow keys to hop.
So
So,
the small goat.
so arrow keys and
first things
WASD do different things.
First things first, yeah, there is a bug. You are currently the large goat. You have to switch between the goats with Q and E.
Oh,
You're
just like in the instructions said.
So, like I say, that is a known bug, which they did mention to me in the expo, but they didn't put into the game.
Is this block
You
based?
have some hearts in the bottom left.
So here is the thing.
Oh yeah.
You are the small goat. The small goat has essentially like a special jump because you are so sprightly and nimble. That's why WASD and arrows do different things. So your arrows basically will jump you one block in that direction.
What?
So also there is.
Oh, I see. I failed to do that.
But the problem is the
controllers
story
block.
engine seems kind of broken because you didn't get across safely and it said you've got across safely.
Yeah, that is broken. Interesting.
So,
Go to it's only me. So I'm going to queue and let him eat my bigger friend.
Oh, he's a very appreciative troll.
So again, you're the small goat, so you need to switch to the medium goat with the Q&E.
What can the medium
So
goat
I'm
do?
The
wondering-
medium goat has a bit of a cold, so he sneezes sticky snot onto people to slow them down.
That's grim.
So it is kind of nice that again they're sort of showing the narrative through the gameplay. There are three goats; they
Yeah.
have three different abilities.
Yeah, I'm not sure it's necessarily the narrative, but I like that there's variation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is.
Poetics.
The mechanics have narrative justification.
Yeah. There you go.
No.
Nope, you failed.
Okay, so was that
You
failure?
failed again.
And the
I'm not
medium
not
goat
really
trotted
enjoying
to
any of this
apparent
guy. Like I
safety.
sort of get it, but that was like given that was the first time I'd used this ability, that felt like a very randomly put together puzzle, like movement puzzle.
Yeah.
So it actually sort of progresses past that part where they sort of have those patrols of enemies in different locations where sort of using that becomes more important.
Yeah.
So
But it felt like the wrong sort of thing. That was just like a mass of things moving, and what it needed to be was like almost like a stealth game patrol. Like I could see one going across, and as it goes across, then I like jump out, spit it, so it doesn't get.
So that's the thing. Later on, they actually do that. So I don't know why they had that big sort of like mess of enemies sort of all wandering around to start
bad
with.
game design. Think about it, guys.
So
Like all it needed to be was just two enemies moving across, and I could spit them
That's
to
exactly
stop
what
them.
the next bit of that level is.
What was it like? Was that their test level? Did they put it in the wrong order? Who knows?
I quite like the fact that when you die, it does somehow affect the narrative, but also I'm
Has
not
it?
sure if that's a
Doesn't.
bug.
Well, it
The
doesn't.
fact it triggers a narrative event
But it
rather than
says
just
you
game
got
over.
to safety.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure if it's like a bug or what.
I think it probably like
So this is good. Like
Ricky
this
should try and
forces
be
you
good at
not
the
to-
game, and then we'll figure out whether it says it either way.
So it did say
I'm
you
very
get
good
to
at this game,
apparent
every game.
safety,
Yeah.
but it still doesn't feel like
Yeah.
it's matching with what we've
If
seen
I
happen.
switch goat, will I?
You can hop across, yeah. So you can
Perfect.
I sort of like that better as a
Well, so
as a mechanic.
I think that's what they were going for. That like you have sort of like an individual level of each goat to sort of force you to try out the different mechanics, and
Sort of
then the
tutorial.
last level is sort of like lets you use all 3 goats at once, but they didn't take out the bit where you can swap between goats for the first 3 levels.
So,
Okay.
I do
are
actually
you
really
having
like
to
the
do
goat
anything here,
one.
Ricky?
Yeah, I have to barge them.
Okay.
The thing is, so level 1 and level 2, level 1 and level 3, no meaningful choice. There was meaningful choice in the third one, but this one, when I get to a character, there's no reason I wouldn't barge into them. And in the first one, when I get to an edge, if I can jump across it, there's no reason I wouldn't jump across it.
So the first one, there is a sort of like puzzle element in that there is like a particular route through the thing that you have to go through. Otherwise, but yeah, it's just sort of working that out rather than.
But I mean the pressing, like the mechanic of pressing that button, like it's if I get to an edge and I could jump across, then I'm gonna press that. So why make me like choose to press that?
Yeah.
Like going forward should just jump me over. Like jump should be automatic. Okay, so no story engine at all because the 3 of us didn't. Oh
Yeah.
no! Narratively, we chose to ask to get past, didn't we? So maybe that is true.
Okay, so this is the next bit?
Yeah, I suppose.
Okay.
So this is the bit where you should be able to switch between your goats.
Do you
Is
need
there
to
any
know?
meaning to that? Like, I might as well just do this, right? Boom, 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 boom.
So you found the dominant strategy.
Boom, boom, boom.
Ah, so you did get hit from the side. So seems to be going up a bit. The goat succeeded or died.
Whoa!
That's
That's almost negative story engine. Something happened. We have no idea because we didn't write the game. Like, there's no data in this game to say whether you succeeded
That's
or died.
fantastic.
You could have left sort of a
Magical.
blank space underneath so you could fill it in
Fill it
yourself.
in
So it's sharply on the screen.
Okay, right. That's a real shame because that was a like
It
that's
was
just an if
happily ever
statement.
after
That,
all drowned in the river.
I guess they wrote that in a text file. Like someone was writing the dialogue and wrote that in a text file, and this was like copied and pasted in, and it was going to be edited to have the if statement around it, and maybe they didn't have time or something. I sort of want to have another go. I wanna,
Yeah, can we
like-
play it to try and figure out if there is any story engine?
There we
Yeah.
go.
yeah. Can you just
Sure, go for it.
can you well before you do that, can you try and just immediately lose all of the levels because we lost 2 and we won 2, right? So it might be that saying that.
Space
two of the
goat.
goats lived happily.
What I quite like is a little galloping horse
It's clearly a
in the
horse.
back. You can tell from the shadow there's a little galloping horse.
Okay.
Wait, what are we doing
if I-
narratively?
So we hit Q last time.
Yeah,
So-
so do
Oh yeah, we want to eat.
I am Billy
E.
Goat Guff, and I do that.
Billy
Go.
Goat.
Very well, yeah.
Ah.
Okay. So even if I hit E,
You
it
progress the
still
same way.
progresses the same. Okay.
Yeah, there,
So that's the
there is-
illusion of choice.
There is not a story engine. in
Can
this
this goat fly?
So I guess what quite interests me about this game
Ooh, can I?
is that
Hang on.
there has been a real attempt to do something mechanical
Oh.
to get across.
I think
the
it's
story.
really nice
Like,
as well. That bit.
poetics wise, there's a really good job of like trying to tell the story through the like the gameplay.
Yeah.
So like very well done for
Okay.
really attempting
Yeah.
that. And like it's quite straightforwardly telling the story. Like we've seen ones that have interesting, like almost were interesting mechanically, but tell a very different story. Or like use the game as sort of a theme. But in this case, it's sort of telling the story of hey, there are 3 different abilities of goat here, and mechanically you complete the game in different ways. What do we think
Okay,
about?
so it's exactly
No,
the
so it's
same,
exactly
the
regardless
Okay.
of what you do.
Do you want to go as well, Rach?
Sure.
Should we start talking about the various details?
So
How
core
do
quality, I mean,
Oh, do I have
but
to
a little bit
restart
buggy.
Buggy and like
The
not
doc-
just not polished, but like almost not complete in terms of some
Yeah.
of its. Like there's been seemingly no gameplay testing or.
Yeah,
Like,
like you say,
trying
so
someone
once
else.
you get the big Billy Goat Gruff, you're supposed to have this choice of now you can swap between all 3 goats. You can find like
Yeah.
different ways around the level and stuff. But it's
Yeah.
but why wouldn't you just charge through everything as the big Billy
Oh.
Goat?
Yeah, like there's a serious dominant strategy there. Like the fact that you can switch to like the bug that lets you switch to any of them here sort of makes that.
So this is sort of like the puzzle bit, so you have to sort of go around there.
But why would you not just go left and go up that way?
Because you can't.
Because I got
that's
attacked.
two gap. You can only jump
So
one.
I think.
Is it? Okay.
I think so. Or actually,
Sorry, we were talking about quality still. So yeah, so the bug that lets you switch between all of them at the beginning means you can complete all of the levels with any of them. You can't go right here. So this is silly. Like,
So I think you should be able to just walk across those gaps, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
Like because of the slow falling goat thing.
Oh no, but again, but bug means that that works. But like, this is just poorly thought out puzzles. Like, this should be way simpler for the first time you have to meet this puzzle.
So if you can just about get past this, the next see like that one there where you've got like the one slowly patrolling goat.
Yeah.
Like that's exactly what needed to happen first. You don't give the player the hardest challenge at the start. You show them this new mechanic.
But like the other thing is that there's no. This mechanic leads you towards a puzzle, like a spatial reasoning puzzle. Hey, good work, Rach.
Hey.
Like this should be you look at where the patrol is. You think, oh, I can stop them in that position. Oh, Rach, you've done that all wrong. You needed him to get into the corner.
Shut up! He'll keep moving in a sec.
Oh, you've done it.
Okay, I got past that first bit though.
You did. But you see what? Like this is a good example of it. You wait for the enemy to get into that corner, then you run into the back of it. Then you stop him, and then it's an interesting reasoning puzzle. And that first example of that
isn't
like even if that was at the end, that like Rachel showed that the only way of solving that is just to spam the buttons. And then, like, again, not meaningful choice. Like, you could have had an interesting puzzle there by having the player have to, like, figure out when to shoot one of those to stop them. And because they will start moving again too quickly, I don't think there's a puzzle solution to that. There's not like
the same with this one, right? It's just a case of see enemy, charge into enemy.
Yeah.
There's no reason not to do that.
Yeah.
There's no interesting application of the mechanic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like that's a shame. And it's a real shame that they. I sort of think they should have stopped and not had that final level, because there is just there's a dominant strategy of I'll just be the big goat and ram for everything.
I don't know. I think it would be nice to have that sort of thing at the end where you sort of combine the three goats' abilities in some interesting way. But I think they need to constrain, like they need to test it right and sort of figure out okay, what do we have to do to the big goat's ability to make this sort of playable and interesting?
Yeah.
Why do we want the player to switch between them?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so like make it useful to make there be a point to being able to switch between them.
Exactly.
Maybe different bits of the level where it makes sense to be different ones.
I mean,
or
even just the part where you have to switch to the small goat to cross like a gap, right?
Yeah, I mean it's sort of like that. Like that sort of breaks the like the aesthetics and the style of this game. Like it's not a magical game, so why can you suddenly like morph between goats? Like that sort of doesn't make sense. But yeah, like without having a plan for what that final level is going to be like to take advantage of those. Like if you have that really clearly in your mind that this is how the level is going to be, so that you get benefit of that. Without that, don't do it. Like you've got three reasonably solid levels to demonstrate each of the mechanics on their own, and that tells the story. So why put it? Like I know it's the grand idea of this, but if you haven't got that really nailed, if that last level's not going to be really really good, then it's sort of not necessary.
To an extent, it sort of comes down to scoping again, right? Keep it nice and tight and do one thing well, rather than trying to do a lot of things but not really coming through on all of them.
Yeah. All right. So shall we talk about the story engine? There isn't one.
Yeah.
So should we talk about the poetics?
The poetics is nice, kind of.
That's the thing. They definitely went for there are three goats. They solve problems in three different ways.
Yeah.
That bit's kind of nice. Techniques and pacing.
So they had the illusion of choice in each.
They did.
It wasn't a very good illusion.
No, it wasn't. It was there though.
Yeah, they tried.
Well, the problem is the illusion of choice only works when you maintain the illusion. When you get to the end and it says something happened, then that's absolutely completely breaks it. That's not even a failure of the story engine. That's a failure of delivering the narrative to the player. Like you could have written even if you weren't maintaining state, you could have written an ending there that isn't just something happened. We don't know what.
Yeah, it's very true.
Because then it absolutely breaks that illusion of choice, and now the player knows that everything they've done is meaningless. Like pacing.
Pacing's okay.
It's
like,
okay. I mean, sorry.
No, it's like if there was some kind of like climax to each level, it'd be quite nice.
Well, I think if they're like, or even the other way, if they'd tutorialise the mechanics a little better with each one.
Yeah, or that. Yeah. Just some kind of change in pacing throughout the actual levels, because they've not got much of that at the moment.
I mean, you do have like the sort of like the little sort of textual lull between each level, sort of saying, here is a thing that happened between things, which sort of gives you some bumps in the drama curve, but yeah, I'm not sure it's managed as well as it could have been.
Yeah. Characterization is not that existent.
No, there's not much dialogue between anyone, so you don't really get any opportunity to do that.
Alright, should we move on? Okay, our next game is Ascending Being Simulator.
When did you start doing that, Tom?
Ascending Being.
We're straight into
Being
this. What happened? This appears to be one of the characters from Rugrats.
Which one? What?
Phil and or Lil, the twins.
Where?
What?
What are you? What is
That's a crow, Ricky.
What, that? That's not a crow.
Yes, it is.
It's a little body.
It's a
little
crow.
body with a face and a funny hair. I don't understand.
Oh, it's the princess. It's the princess.
Okay, I thought it was a crow as well.
Okay, guys, this makes much more sense. I was so confused in the expo. I thought it was a crow.
Right. So who saw this in the expo?
I did.
Okay.
So it's this.
Should we replay the level?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I didn't do anything.
Right.
What? Hang on. What?
Exactly.
Sorry. What? Why would we replay the what? Why is that choice? This. Oh god, I'm getting
So
flashbacks.
Ricky,
Would you like to quit the game?
so
A
as a
little
crow,
bit, because I think I've done that.
Right. Okay.
as a crow, Ricky found a shiny object and therefore progressed the line.
So
I'm
Ricky
not a
is not the
crow.
crow.
I'm Phil from.
I can.
Ricky is
Rugrats.
not Phil from Rugrats. Ricky
am
is
I?
an ascended being, and you can click on things to kind of affect what happens. So I think on this level it was you can close the door and open the window, and something different happens. So
How am I meant to know that?
Right.
Yeah, there is absolutely no indication of this mechanic at all. Also, that
right,
window looks
exactly.
weird.
And
What's
then I think you just one way she finds the ball and one way she doesn't. So she found it that way.
Is that because I moved some things out of the way?
Yeah, I think so.
Does she move at like certain intervals?
Yeah, I think so.
Wait, you weren't moving?
Okay, so
No, I had no
No,
control
he is an
over it.
ascended being that clicks things and affects what happens. He is not the princess or the.
so
I
Oh,
sort of wondered whether I was like puzzling to move things out of the way so there was a route through to her to get to the ball, which was invisible, like it was hidden under the bed. How was I meant to know that? But I'm not sure it's even doing that. I think it's randomly moving.
See, in my head, I had it that you open the window, close the door, and a bird flies in. But that might just be because I thought it was a crow.
You are playing a different game.
So here's the thing, right? This is kind of an interesting premise. I kind of like the idea of being this sort of weird, omnipotent being that's sort of taking us through the narrative by affecting it. But that is a sort of weird premise, right? This is a thing that you should introduce to the player
It's got
somehow.
a frog and a iguana.
Right, so
Oh, no,
that
but
Did
iguana
you just drown her, Ricky?
So she just drowned, and the frog got eaten by the iguana.
Like there is absolutely no guidance whatsoever here to the player.
It's got
So
sort
I
of the
think-
same flaws as a lot of point
I
and
think
click games
there's like
have.
a lily pad at the bottom
Yeah,
that
but
you can maybe
where?
click when the frog. Watch the frog. Can you click that? Yeah, and then
But- oh,
he
I see.
moves
Point and
away.
click
I
games
can't see that.
introduce what's going on to the
Mm.
player. There's been no introduction to the narrative here whatsoever.
Additionally, they tend not to be timed as well, so you don't have this sort of rush to just click everything on the screen.
And that's, if these things are happening at timed intervals, put that timer on the screen. Like, tell me this timer is involved somehow.
Yeah.
It should be a
What's
bit
that?
more obvious which
Apparently
things
this
you can
is the end.
interact with.
So we have the option of replaying or restarting the game.
Callum, would you like to play a game?
Yeah, okay.
So very, yeah, strange.
Wait, do I replay? I haven't played the
like-
level actually.
Callum's right.
Oh,
Anton.
can I click-
the
can I click the ball?
idea
It's a
of
hat.
having control over the scene is interesting,
Ah.
but I have no like Oh no, he's moved.
Like,
That's interesting. So that does have an effect. Like mechanically moving that
Wait, what?
stop the frog being able to get there. So like
What?
there is some story engine like interaction between mechanics and the
yeah, but
narrative.
there's no like none of this is meaningful. This isn't meaningful play. We're just randomly clicking on stuff. We have no idea. Like even adventure games have a sort of twisted logic to what's going on. But right now,
this feels a bit like the adventure game twisted
Like
logic.
clicking on the lily pad so the frog floats away and the
Yeah,
iguana
like
doesn't
that.
eat it. That's a bit, but I don't know what's going on with the princess.
You
over
sort of
there.
can't guess that the iguana's going to eat it until after you failed it, and you have
Yeah,
to
so you
figure it
have,
out again,
yeah,
which
you
is
have to fail it once.
it's frustrating.
Do
But
iguanas eat frogs?
I don't think so. Maybe not on that scale though. Like a big iguana might eat like a tiny little rainforest frog, but like that skinny ass iguana's not going to eat that enormous bullfrog. Why did you jump in the water, dude?
Are you trying to save her with the lily
So-
pad or something?
Somehow, like, if I just mash all of these things, she doesn't walk across. But
what is that? How do we know that? Like
It's a
how?
stone.
Okay, so moving the stone
so
in her
she
path.
trips over it and drops the ball instead of drowning.
And then
Okay,
the
so you
frog
don't move the stone.
gives her the ball back. I see. Okay, so we sort of pieced it together, but there's no.
Does
yeah.
she? Oh, okay.
That frog has gone huge. Wow.
I've got really
Just
close, Tom. That's perspective.
Okay.
And oddly, I sort of appreciate the effort. Like, I appreciate the attempt at what's been trying to be done here. Like,
Okay, yeah.
I guess there's like the mechanics aren't really that detailed. It's just point and click, and that almost
You have
that might be
games
what the
that
frustration is.
Do that.
And there are games that do that.
But it's just randomly pointing and clicking at things. Like, so adventure games sort of tend to get around this by, if you click on something, it will tell you what it is. Like, you have different ways of interacting with it. You click on a thing and your character will say, aha, this is something and something.
That's what's missing, right? Is the exposition that when you do a thing, there's no response. It definitely needed that.
Like,
Yeah.
And you could drive some more narrative with that. Like,
So
you could.
it's weird that we're playing as like an ascended being rather than the princess. Like typical adventure game, we'd be playing as the princess. We'd be clicking on things to sort of like I say, we'd sort of click on something. She'd say, "Oh, this is my golden ball. It's my favourite," and then we'd have a different button to click on it to actually do something with it.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just randomly mashing buttons on the screen, hoping something happens.
Well, I sort of feel like what they went for is a almost like Sims type
Yeah, that's
thing.
what I was
That like,
thinking.
can I make a set of like
That's it.
systems happen
I
that
sort of like the idea
result
of
in
playing like
narrative.
this omnipotent director and sort of saying, "Aha, this is the story I want to tell. I'm going to arrange these like these characters are just pawns in my."
There's
Like,
not quite enough
sorry.
freedom in it
But
for that.
It never sets that up. It doesn't tell you that at all,
Yeah.
except through the title of the game. That could have been such a cool premise if they'd
What?
introduced that.
Right.
Like, if they'd had a cutscene at the start, or like hell, I would have taken a paragraph of text at the start over none at all.
But yeah,
That
like
premise has to be introduced somehow.
it's like a voiceover cutscene at the start of each like gameplay bit that was just like your omnipotent being's deep booming voice explaining what you wanted to happen. Like,
Yeah.
ha ha ha! Now the princess is going to drop the ball in the river, and the frog is going to collect it. Like, just delivering that bit of dialogue so that the player knew what their objective was
Well, like
was
so,
really necessary.
Like
yeah.
that first scene, like the golden ball is hidden somewhere. Help the princess find it. Like that is
Yeah.
the absolute minimum required.
Yeah.
Like to make that.
It sort of has a chronic lack of direction.
It does.
Trying to both actually in terms of the gameplay, what am I supposed to be doing, and even narratively, sort of why are we trying to get the princess to get the ball or
Yeah.
kiss the frog or run away and drown in the
Like,
pond?
how does closing the door help? How does opening the window help?
Mm.
Why is turning the light on help?
Keys defrog.
Should we talk about the overall
Overall
quality
quality, yeah,
of the
that's-
game? It works. It's a playable game.
Ooh, I'm not sure it's
I'm not
a
convinced
game.
it's meaningful play.
yeah.
We don't have a goal. We don't have direction. I don't know why clicking on these things is affecting things in the way they are. We have not a lot of agency, I don't think.
No, we have to do all the things in the same order, and it feels like a missed opportunity to not have something interesting happen when you get it slightly wrong. Like there are lots of different combinations of getting this wrong.
I think
And
they
you
had
need some
that
dialogue
in
or
the first
something.
level. I think there was a different ending to the first.
There's a different
level.
ending, but it needs to be more
It's-
live. Like I'm not connecting. Like
Yeah.
I choose 6 random actions in
Objects on the
order.
screen.
Then I get a bit of
Yeah.
dialogue, which isn't really that distinct or like if it had said, haha, you shouldn't have moved that weird shaped shell on the floor, then I would have been, like I'm doing it.
Okay, next time I'll do it different.
Yeah. What are those little
The cube
2D
games.
The cube games
Yeah.
where you're like trying to work out the exact order that you have to do the actions in.
It's exactly that,
It's,
isn't it?
it's exactly like that, but just not polished or explained or.
It feels like it inherently wants to be a puzzle game, actually, in its current form. But the key thing
Yeah.
about puzzle games is they have very clear rules, and then
Yeah.
exploit those simple rules to give you interesting challenges.
Solving
And
the
in this,
puzzles shouldn't be
the
random.
rules aren't clear.
Yeah.
So that's the thing, right? These cube games where you sort of have to select a set of actions in a particular order, they're still quite random, and there's still not necessarily a lot of direction, but you get immediate feedback every time you click a thing. You see the world change and sort of adapt. Like, you get that to an extent here, but it's not immediately obvious what's going on. So, like, when you say, like, you click the rock and then the princess sort of trips over it. So,
Right,
hang on, what?
yeah, I remember there was a tutorial now.
Why does a tutorial come on at the end?
What?
The tutorial was definitely first in the expo, I just completely
Is this a
forgot
different
it
game?
existed.
Because it's different
No,
art
it's the same
assets.
game.
Interesting.
Okay, so all of those things that we've just said maybe could have avoided by having the tutorial at the start instead of the end.
Yeah, I probably should have remembered that this existed.
It's
Oh,
not red.
But it's not red when I view it. But this is nothing to do with the story. Like, all of this could have been
Just
delivered in
in
the
that
yeah,
first
story.
yeah, exactly.
I don't see a rock. Is there a rock?
Yeah,
Oh.
I think it was more obvious. I don't know. I think something about
Running it in Unity hasn't worked.
yeah. Should we talk about the story engine?
I mean, there is one
A
there.
little bit of one there. Yeah.
It does react to what you do.
Again, I'm not sure how my actions really affect it.
Mm.
It's clear that they do, but I don't see that. Like, moving a rock means the princess now goes and gets a career in middle management.
Yeah, it doesn't affect
It
it,
doesn't-
in a logical way.
It's very hard to call the outcome of any one thing from doing it.
And again, it's back to meaningful choice, right? You give the player a choice so they can feel like they've had an impact on this. I don't necessarily feel like my actions here are impacting the story, even if they are, because they're so, like, disjointed from it.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think one way they could have mitigated that is make it more obvious from the objects they put in the world what the effect is they're going to have. For example, in the first scene, it's quite obvious from sort of clicking on a light, it's going to light up.
Yeah.
With other things like the rock, I thought that was going to block her path rather than
Yeah.
trip over it if they'd. Which I admit is it's a difficult thing to signpost, but it's really important to make sure that it is signposted.
Yeah, in terms of poetics, they've told the story.
Uh-huh.
Though I think it's sort of the actual gameplay sequences seem to focus on one very, very small aspect of the story, and then you get a big chunk of exposition sort of that connects them.
Having the small aspects of the story isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like we said, they can choose whatever sort of scale they want to set it on. But again, the sort of mechanics as narrative thing doesn't. None of these things match the sort of themes of the story, which are things like Dave was saying before, like kindness for its own sake, sort of things like that.
Yeah.
Like none of that's mirrored through this. Like if anything, it's the opposite. We're some omnipotent being toying with these people's lives for seemingly no reason.
Yeah. Techniques and pacing. And characterization.
I don't know if this was really mentioned in the poetics, but I quite liked that the mechanics, it's trying to drive through the mechanics. I think there's, you're right, there's a lot missing, but there's been an attempt to.
I like the fact it gets more complicated as it goes on. It does actually build up to a.
I don't know. This level's more sensible. So you think the pacing's good because of that?
So
they sort of build up the puzzle. The first
Yeah.
one is just you looking for a ball and you just click stuff until you find it. Whereas this one has an element of challenge in it to get the sort of quite good ending.
I think the pacing is a little flat because, like you said, everything is so disjointed. You don't feel the drama of it because you don't really know what's going on.
Yeah.
and I think a lot of the drama does sort of actually happen in those exposition sequences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sort of all your feedback for this particular puzzle is she runs off and kisses the frog and becomes a prince and everything's happy and fantastic.
Okay. Anything else we want to add about this one? Let's call it there.
Alright.
Okay. Okay, so our next game is called Rumpilteltsken, which is notably very wrongly spelt,
Can I play this?
but we're not sure. We're not sure whether it's intentionally misspelt or whether that was just an error.
So I saw this one in the expo, and it opens with this sort of quite simple, this quite simple cutscene, which is nice.
I like the way it actually takes you through the dialogue rather than just presenting it to you in one big chunk.
Yeah, exactly. So this is what we were saying before, right? Like if you've got a big set of exposition to do it, break it down for the player.
It's perhaps going a bit fast. I'd like to have seen sort of a continue.
Oh, that
button.
one's me.
Yeah, that's Rachel Harry.
Think of it as a cutscene. It is like, again, if we had sort of like AAA production values in mind, these characters would be sort of speaking and emoting and whatnot. But
It's just because you've got to read the text. It's
yeah.
My name is. I've had enough.
Wait, that doesn't make sense.
I like the fact that this king has an idea of scientific method.
Giovanni.
Had to be deported due to recent events.
Satire. I like that.
Please let your father know of my he can definitely see you.
In fact, he noticed. He was the one who noticed.
Wee. Oh no.
What are you saying?
Oh, okay.
What did he want?
I can't just go see.
The father's enormous compared to that king.
The king's really small.
Tiny.
Lord Farquaad. I'm not really
It's
sure what's
perspective.
happening.
I think what's happening is the father's a dick. He's trying to convince the king that his daughter can spin gold, despite the fact they both clearly know that they can't.
Who's Burton?
You'll go for a Burton.
What does that mean?
What?
Wait, haven't we already had this bit?
No.
Wee.
Stop walking around. Why are you in front of the text?
Interactive cutscenes.
I know, but you can cover up the text.
Look, it's me
It's
talking
diegetic
now.
text.
I'm the king now.
Counting worms.
No, we already did this bit because I
You'll
said
go for
who's
a Burton.
Burton. Hop the twig. What is happening?
Oh no.
Maybe you should
It
stop
seems to be
walking
stuck in an
around.
infinite loop.
I'm hopping the twig.
I
Or
think,
maybe
Right,
it means
okay.
you have to leave.
I think this might be a bug.
I don't think I
You
can leave. Oh, yeah, I
You
can.
Off the screen.
Off I go.
Can
I'm
you get
lost.
back on the screen? Oh, now you can fly over all the colliders.
Yeah, we've definitely done a bit of dialogue before.
Yeah, we have.
Right, I'm gonna stand here and stop moving around.
There we go.
Right,
Oh.
there we go.
So we only had to go through that bit of dialogue twice. So.
No, like
3
4
times,
times.
4 times.
That was a bit weird.
So the art style was strange. It's like very conflicted. Like the backgrounds are very different to the characters.
So, at a guess, they found the background on the art store somewhere.
Drew their own.
Which, is fine, but maybe I would have looked for a background that matches.
I think
the
the
art style.
assets are fine.
I think it's alright. It's
Oh, it's close enough that it works.
So far, the only actual game.
That's a little
that
bit.
one on the other hand.
Also, might be a tiny bit of copyright infringement. I don't know.
What up, Doc? Am I meant to be?
So you have to click on it.
But 3 gems.
Why is Rumpelstiltskin a short man but significantly taller than you?
I'm a child, I guess. I don't know.
Well, why can you go upwards on the screen?
I can move
Like, I
over
don't
the
understand.
entire.
I
What?
don't understand that. Can you ring that bell?
She can spin
I don't know.
straw
What's
to
that green
gold.
button?
I
What's that
can't
green
actually
button at the
move
bottom
over
there?
there.
So Rumpelstiltskin
That's the gems
said
I'm collecting.
he's not going to help you unless you collect 3 gems, which are conveniently right there.
Oh, I see.
Okay.
Now
So
what?
that is sort of the only gameplay of this game, I think.
Apart from messages between your father.
Why is it
and-
labelled dwarf?
Because he's a dwarf. Psych.
That's not how you spell psycho.
No, it's not. But
Okay.
it's so funny. I forgot to laugh.
So it might be nice if they'd actually put some of the illusion of choice in here, because a lot of these
I don't
responses have just had one option.
Some of them did. So I need your help and I don't need your help.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure that
something
would join back to.
Right. Yeah. This.
I don't understand what's happening.
There isn't really any gameplay
what?
to this game. I can't read that. I'm in front of it. Why
Move
is
out
this
of the way then.
happening? I can't move now.
Oh, right. Why can't you move?
I don't know. Why is that a different size font?
Why did you stop in the middle
It's
of the
getting
text?
larger.
No. another pie?
Oops, I mean,
Something
I
doctor.
thought so.
So this is the bit in the story where the king finds out she actually can turn straw into gold, so it gets her to do more, because of course you would.
Hey,
Okay.
Rumpelstiltskin is there again.
Yep, so we have to talk to him, and he asks us to collect some more gems.
Right,
I
I
think we
assumed
clicked
he
on
I
that.
has.
think you click through the dialogue there.
I didn't on purpose.
So we've seen a similar thing where you've had to go do like collection quests based on Rumpelstiltskin's demands, but I sort of
Why?
feel like there was a little bit more like gameplay
Yeah.
in the other one.
I also feel like it should have something to do with the narrative. I'm not sure
Yeah.
where these gems are coming from or why they're in the stable.
Why do
Or why he can't
ran-
just go and get them himself.
Why
Yeah.
they randomly appear in the stable?
I don't know
Why
what I'm
you-
saying.
Why you can float off the ground to move to get them, and
I'm pretty sure this is a bug.
I would hope so.
so this is a change of pacing because it makes you lean in and you're like on the edge of
On
your
the edge
seat.
of your seat.
You're like, oh, what's going to happen next? Maybe I'm going to fall off my chair. in
Why have they
excitement.
got this huge text thing in the middle?
Why is Rumpelstiltskin
Exactly where the
behind it
character. Yeah.
and you're in front of it?
It's 3D.
It's obviously not. So this is quite tricky, isn't it? Like
I can't move now either. So.
I don't feel like there's not
It seems
not
like
a great deal of quality.
more of an
I don't know.
interactive
Is this the
narrative
end
than a
or is
game.
this a bug?
Like
I'm
there's
not sure.
there's all basically no game in this. Like, I
There
don't
is
feel
no
like there's
game.
any
All the
game
times where
necessary.
you can move, there's no point. And
Yeah.
it makes it buggy more than anything.
Yeah, and I don't know. So I guess I'm trying to compare. Like it is just a moving through the narrative. There's little interaction. I guess I'm comparing it to the game a couple of games ago with the Iguana Prince one. Like, is it? It just feels it feels not even as polished as that, unfortunately. But I'm grasping at why. Like I don't know what it is that's. I don't know if it's just the complete lack of doing
I just
anything
think
other
it-
than
yeah, I
clicking
just
through
think
text.
it's
I mean, you
that.
collect the gems, right? That's technically more than the Iguana Prince had, but
Well, you collected an iguana at that.
yeah,
At least you like moved through some space and through some like. At least you got a sense of the world through doing that. Here, I'm just
We
like,
didn't
why-
move through, and we
It
didn't even
sort
move
of
from one map to the
Just for the most part, almost expositioning at you in dialogue after dialogue, and you don't have a choice of when to initiate that dialogue, except for with sort of Rumpelteltsken.
Yeah.
And it sort of is an interactive story that you can't really affect. Even the actual gem collecting challenge doesn't have any way of affecting the story. It just progresses it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, does the what are you trying to do? Man?
don't know. Try to
Is-
start this.
Yeah, is this the end or is it?
I think there might be more to it than this. I
Maybe
can't
you can
quite
go and
remember.
talk to the king.
You can't move. I can't
Oh,
move.
So I think it might have bugged out.
Alright, let's
Did
try
did
again.
Rumpelteltskin kneecap her for not giving her?
Like, I have no idea what he was saying either, so I
Just
don't know
because
if
yeah, the
it's
text
the end.
bugged out a bit as well.
Yeah. Should we talk about quality of the game while you're trying to get it working more?
So I mean, so we've already seen like there's a couple of bugs still. Like
Yeah.
like the way the characters sort of can move, like and sort of fly through the air is a bit of a shame. Like you could have constrained that with a couple of colliders, but
Yeah. I think we've spoken about the quality.
Okay.
That's
I
clear.
just wasn't
What
paying
about
attention.
the poetics and story engine?
So with the story engine.
story engine, I'm not sure there is one.
No.
There doesn't seem to be a lot of. So it's possible that, like I say, if the game bugged out there and that wasn't the end, there is more to it.
Is there any dialogue choice?
You can make
There are
dialogue
choices, but they seem
don't.
to fold back very quickly.
Yeah,
so.
they don't seem to really affect.
So
much
like
at all.
there's one bit where when Rumpelstiltskin first appears, you can say, "I need your help," and I don't think you can help me. And I think in either case he says, "Don't worry, I can help you."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So there's been a bit of an attempt to like interact with what choices you've made narratively. They don't seem to affect the
The course of the
mechanics.
story.
Like there's no mechanical changes based on that, and definitely nothing like there's virtually no mechanical action. So
Yeah.
I guess other than the fact that you cannot collect the gems, which
But
doesn't
Can
progress the
you?
story,
Yeah.
means that you're going to do that, and it's so simple that you can't not do that. Like you could
Despite the
have a
fact
keyboard and
Despite the fact you can move around during the story, during the sort of exposition segments, it still is very much actually a cutscene in a way.
I mean,
Or
as techniques go, I think that's all right. Having sort of like interactive cutscenes, sort of like in sort of like Half-Life, right? When you're getting sort of exposition dumps from the scientists, you can still wander around and sort of look at things and look at the world.
Absolutely, but I think the issue here is you can only just move your character around. There's nothing to interact with or see, and it then sort of breaks it up with the gameplay segments, and it sort of feels like it has the same issues of a cutscene segment followed by a gameplay segment followed by a cutscene segment followed by a gameplay segment, despite the fact they sort of clearly tried to mitigate that to an extent.
So I think there's definitely some sort of like narrative difference in like depending on some of the options you
Yeah,
can
that's what I was going to say.
You got the king a bit angry.
Yeah, I got the king angry, and then my dad's like, "You pissed him off, didn't you?"
Because now your father has a reason to lie about you being able to spin straw into gold.
But then all of that is exactly the same.
Yeah.
So it's not
and it's still...
I didn't even move that time. I'm going to go stand over there.
That's a bit of a shame. Poetics? Like, is anything that we're doing
It tells
in
the
this?
story, that's pretty much it.
But it just delivers the story, right?
Yeah.
With very little from us to change that. And so techniques. So we've got the text popping up.
And that is quite nice in the beginning, the text popping up gradually.
Yeah, we were happy with that, I remember. Way back then. And yeah, like, given that's like the main only thing that's happening, like there could be a bit like that could have been polished a bit more, like the text could have like not shrunk to a tiny size, and I don't know, you could have like images of who's speaking to like really delimit who's saying what. Like you could have the character not be able to walk in front of it. Those sort of things would have been nice polish, given it's the primary thing that's happening.
And it is quite a nice way of presenting the story in a cutscene sort of way. It's just perhaps a bit overused.
Yeah. Anything else? Pacing. There was a change of scene, but I'm not really sure anything else.
It's all like it's very flat.
I think part of the problem is I'm not really sure what's going on in the narrative at any one
That's
point.
what I said last time, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm not actually sure. I'm not getting a sense of a real narrative curve just from reading the text.
No.
Yeah.
And anything else? Other techniques? Characterization? You got a little bit of the king and the...
They characterise the king sort of quite nicely.
A little bit,
as sort of like a greedy...
Yeah.
They don't characterise the protagonist much.
No, there's nothing about the protagonist. I've got like no reason to care that I'm this character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe they do in this text, who knows.
So yeah,
I also didn't move to the middle then.
Oh, we did it.
So,
Oh, interesting. So maybe
it does sort of just feel like I'm falling through a story that's happening rather than being a part of the story as the character.
Like the point about making a narrative game is that there's got to be some fun in the interactions, whether that's mechanically or through the narrative.
It's not just a case of we won't let you onto the next bit of the story until you do this task.
Yeah.
It has to be telling the story through doing that task.
Yeah, and this just feels like not enough effort has been put into like really solidly fixing that. So yeah, and a couple of little quality issues in terms of just like how the game plays and a few bugs and things like that has sort of let this down a little bit, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, shall we move on?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so our final game for this batch is called Telephone. I think I saw this in the expo, so I'll let someone else play. Do you want to play, Reach?
Yeah.
So this was the other of the film noir games.
Alright.
Had to do jobs for the mob just to eat. That's quite sad.
And it feels like the two games that went film noir tried to take more from the thematic elements of theme noir than they did from the stories they were actually doing.
We've already got some nice characterization of through the dialogue and things.
But yeah, I think that, so if I remember rightly, this has some nice dialogue and some nice characterization.
That's nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
I feel a bit like excluded from this. Like there's not a lot of not any interaction.
That was really nice. Like
no deal. No deal.
I have a son.
Or characterization, we know that now. Delivery of exposition. Ooh, I wonder which of the stories this is. Cool. So we've got 3 days to figure out.
really nicely done, actually.
That was a sound click rather than the
Yeah,
actual.
Like, I was about to say, I feel like we should have put something in the background to make something happen while it's expositioning, but then that happened and it was really effective against the silence.
Yeah. Day one.
Am I that block?
Yes.
So we're going
Right.
for sort of Thomas's alone again.
Thomas is a telephone.
Thomas.
Right.
So,
So again, this
Right.
the
so-
bar. It's got to be the bar. It's the most noir place.
It did
There
say
is.
bar in the dialogue, actually.
So
Is
again,
that a person or a door?
yeah, that's all.
And how do I talk to people?
So some controls would have been nice, I think.
Click on them or space. I think it's space. Space.
Oh yeah, you can just
cool,
only
cool.
talk to this guy.
So,
right. Okay.
so I like
Some
the,
indication of that might have been.
yeah, I like the really simple aesthetic they've gone for,
Mm.
but because it's so simple, you definitely need that, like, just an exclamation mark over the bartender's head.
A bit more
Just like,
information design, or like even on the block or something
Yeah.
like that.
Or even just
Like
have
little
the
tie
other
or
people
something.
say something.
little mouth.
Like,
Yeah.
Or just a press space to talk to this
Mm.
guy.
Yeah.
So I like the fact they've added music to it. Again, we're not judging on the quality of the music, but the fact that they have like this sort of background track that fits well with the aesthetic they've gone for.
It's
Just-
a level of polish, right?
Exactly.
And it's like it's so easy. Like you just have to have like thought for a little bit, like, oh, what would be a good
yeah.
sort of style of music? Google for one of those, put it in the background. Like it just ties all of the story so much better together.
Absolutely.
Adds to that aesthetic element in a really like easy way, but really
how do
powerful way.
And to be honest, even though the
Up and
game
down, maybe do you
has
see that?
mostly just
I would have
talked
thought
to
1 and
us,
2, but
Yeah.
no.
it's done it really, really well.
Do I have to click
Click on
it?
it.
Is that? Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Oh, that
Maybe
needs a
don't
better
have the
indicator.
numbers there. If
Yeah.
You've got to click it. I really like on the dialogue the way they switch the side the dialogue's on depending on who's talking. It's much easier.
I
to-
noticed that, but that
Yeah.
you're right. That's a really good way of
Yeah. It's like,
indicating that the two different characters are talking. But for almost like zero technical effort.
yeah. Exactly.
So is that a health bar at the top, or is that like an inventory?
I thought it was a light.
Oh, maybe it is. I don't know.
You
I
get
don't
down-
know.
Go through that door there. I think
This.
there's a downstairs. Click on it, maybe. Press up on it. Press down on it.
Right.
Which
It's
was that?
W up.
Yeah, what you do down here? I ain't talking.
Yeah, threaten the mob.
Favour for a favour. Most noir is
Oh,
probably
that's
3.
what got us into this mess.
So I like that there's like those were clearly different options, right? I don't know. I can't. I
Do you reckon,
don't know
they
whether
have a
have
different
any
effect?
I think they do narratively. I'm not sure they would mechanically. Or maybe they do.
I like the fact you can talk to the
Yeah,
goons that
see,
are
that's the
missing.
Right. Okay. So.
All it does is,
Oh, was it the wrong?
yeah, he just doesn't talk to you if you say that.
But it's still an option you have, which makes sense.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
so-
consistent.
There's literally only this.
But it's not a meaningful choice. It's not a choice at all because
It's not a choice. No.
these two options don't do anything. This option progresses the story.
More a level of polish, I think, than a story element.
It almost detracts from it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because you might go to choose. Like, they felt by reading them like really, really meaty choices. Like maybe picking one of those choices takes some
Like, are
very
we about to
different
suddenly
game.
get into a fight with the mob? Are we
Yeah.
gonna like?
Right. It's inventory.
Ah, okay.
Disproportionately sized
What?
inventory.
Sorry, what is that? I
It's
missed-
a bat.
Oh,
It's a bat.
Nice.
So we can smash something up.
Go and hit the.
Go smash something up. What have we got to smash up?
Don't know, let's go somewhere else.
How do we
How?
leave?
How do I leave?
Back.
Oh, there we go.
Let's go smash up the shop. Or
Not the
mob
mob
HQ.
HQ.
Oh, what did they tell us to smash up?
The shop
Oh,
probably.
okay.
Can we beat
I
this
think
guy
we
up?
speak to the mob boss.
So
Hey, get the mob. What did they say to go to? Yeah, go to the HQ. I think we speak to the boss and then.
Right. Okay. You
Oh,
can't go
okay.
there.
So again,
Did
that's
they tell
gated
us
quite
to-
nicely, but
Yeah. That's nice.
They tell us to smash up the shop.
so yeah, the favour is we'll go and we got a you got a lovely shop here.
money.
Be a shame if something happened to it.
There's just some lovely tanks. Number 3, say use the bat.
I'll have to send more than some goon. Goon pulls out a bat. Ah. So when I said that earlier,
what I meant is some goon with a bat. They'll have to send a goon with a bat before I do anything.
Right, that's cash, I
Oh.
guess.
But
we didn't get to smash up the.
That's
we just had to threaten it. But the thing is, we offered that mob guy cash, and he was like, I don't need cash. I need you to go and threaten some guy with a bat for cash.
Well, and like the power struggle over
Yeah.
that dude.
So it'd be interesting if we can get the cash out of the shopkeeper like any other way. I have a feeling he won't give it to us until we have the bat.
Yeah. Where did we get the bat from? We
From
got
this-
From this
mob
guy, yeah.
So yeah, it's a nice way of
because
sort
we
of
have
gating.
left without it. I guess like they've probably gated us.
But that's my point. Like but it'd be a shame if we couldn't just sort of like get that money from him from another way. So like threatening him, like, or persuading him, or something, or like pleading for, I have to do this to like get my son back. Please help me.
This is annoying. It wants me to go to bed before going.
Because you've got 3 days.
Yeah.
We need to progress the drama somehow.
7 days.
Is that pacing? Is that contributing to
Jim.
good pacing?
Balthazar.
I feel like.
So that was another one. Stop wasting my time. You haven't got it. He colours.
Yeah, right. But you did just like start spamming names.
Yeah. So I do feel I'm getting a real sense of polish from this.
Why couldn't I have
There's not
said this
been
last
many
night?
bugs.
Yeah.
The boss probably wasn't in.
Yeah, but we didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's a very tidily presented game. Like I think the visuals are really really cool, and like well thought of. The music's nice. The dialogue delivery seems to work pretty well.
And I like the way, even though it's just most of this game, is it presenting text it is.
Yeah.
The way it uses the music and the way it has sort of the scene and the above it just really complements it nicely.
Yeah. So you're right. There's not really any gameplay, is there? There's like some dialogue choices that don't seem to have, like, don't actually seem to give us the agency we want.
This feels like a meaty choice.
Yeah, hopefully it is. What do we want to do, guys?
So
I was tempted to go for the
Let's go armed. I want to see what
armed guys. Yeah. Disagree with them. Not going back to that life.
Right.
Okay, so that just sort of killed the choices.
Well, what do we think? Is there another way to do this? Probably not.
I reckon not.
What happens if we talk to him again, though? Okay, so you do have the option of going back and using the other option.
Yeah, but there's no point in there being a choice then. Like,
But I like the fact it wasn't you.
Well,
You
no,
weren't
your
stuck
choi-
into your choice.
Your
once
choice
you-
is like join the mob or go about solving the situation a different way, which is nice. Again,
But it doesn't sound like there is another way.
well,
like
no,
if
there is like
mechanically-
go with armed guys and just try and guess his name. But the problem is, like, I think we're gonna have to play this again to like find out how that manifests.
I'm not sure we have time to play again.
Yes.
I don't know where it told me to go.
This goes back to what someone was saying about presenting sort of a
Not
flow
here,
chart
I
of the other
Yeah.
dialogue
Just
choices and
blanked
things like
you.
that.
How rude.
Everyone's blanking me. Oh, that guy
He
isn't.
just says
Why don't they all...
What? Yeah, why don't they all say that?
because they said that at the start, and you've exhausted the other guy's dialogue trees.
Oh, the
So
guy,
I'm-
Oh, secret hideout, probably.
the guy left the bar as well.
I can tell why you couldn't tell where that was, though. It was very secret.
I don't know where I am,
I
So-
reckon you're one of the red blocks.
There is
but I
Rumpels-
can't move.
Click on.
I can press space, I guess.
Give me back my son.
That's
I like that your son is the same colour as you are. That's kind of neat. And the mob
It's cute.
the mob guys are all the same colour as well.
Oh, the mob guys.
Yeah.
They were very hidden in the shadows.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay,
Nice.
that would have been nice as a choice if you actually shoot Rumpelstiltskin or not. Because it's about that. It's just about that consistency of characterization.
Is that
If
the end?
you want your protagonist to reflect the views you're putting into the game, or certain moralities, things like that, and forcing you to sort of shoot him against your will, it's
I don't know. It's characterization, right?
it is definitely.
It's taking agency away from the player, but it allows them to characterize. Like, I have a much better sense of who that character that they've developed is now.
I guess the question is, are you do you get to develop the character in the direction you want as a player, or is the game saying this is the character and make the choices to get through the game?
It's a very common thing in like narrative games like this. We've mentioned it before in a couple of games. The sort of protagonist often seems kind of an empty shell, and that's because you have to have this sort of you're able to sort of put your own character onto them, whether that's through dialogue or whatever else. In sort of like Paragon Renegade of a Commander Shepard, right? So in fact, it was the previous noir game that we saw that had that sort of like dialogue choice. The protagonist himself wasn't characterized except through the choices you made.
Who's Jim?
Okay.
I think that guy. Is he the blue guy? Yeah. So we said we weren't going to get involved with the mob, and now we're talking to the cops.
So the guy at the start said no cops. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. So could we have talked to this guy at the start, or
No, not
You have to
until
speak to the
you have to
bartender
talk
and
to
make
the
a dialogue
bartender
choice.
first and make
Ah,
a choice there. So that's quite interesting.
so this is, I guess, an entire different tree of solving the problem.
It's very early on though, like, and it feels like there's no way of making other, like, once you're on a path, there's no other way of, like, you basically got to go down the rest of that path.
Mm.
So the thing is,
Yeah.
that's not necessarily a terrible thing, but again, if you're making a game prototype that you know that people are going to be looking at for like 10-15 minutes, either give us some indication of like this is a super important choice that's going to diverge the game, or send us a cheat sheet, give us a flowchart that sort of shows here are the important choices. We know you won't be able to see all of these, but we want you to be aware of like the different paths through the game.
We're going to trace the caller.
Right, okay.
Did it say go home?
Yeah.
So I guess my issue is more that we've got this major split in the storyline at the very beginning.
It's essentially just two different games.
Yeah, but then it doesn't feel like there's a meaningful split after that. So like when we played through the go with the mob choice, we had those places where it was like, oh, can we do this with violence and without violence? It's like, no, you've just got to take the mob.
I'm pretty sure that was still a choice, right? Like we can choose to go in like armed, or we could choose to just try and guess his name with help from the mob.
Yeah.
So I think that was still a definite choice. It's just we picked one side of it rather than the other.
Yeah.
Where do we have to go today?
Yeah, go talk to Jim again, I guess. Play his game.
Yeah, because we've already confronted him.
Yeah, we confronted him, and that was in the second day, and there must be
Wait, so we want number 1 or 2?
Two. I don't think the cop will be happy with us just shooting him in the back either.
So it feels like they've done a lot of effort to write a lot of dialogue to
Yeah.
make all this.
The dialogue's quite nice in and of itself.
Can we do the top one?
Go for it.
Let's do the top one.
I want to see what the third day is.
Alright, so while you're going through that, overall quality.
Nice.
Really
really,
nice.
really
Really
nice.
nice,
Yeah.
yeah.
Really good.
I mean, has
Like,
there been any
really
bugs,
polished. No, but is there any game?
It's still a case of go here, talk to guy, go here, talk to guy, go here, talk to guy, right?
And there's
Yeah.
not a lot of going either. Like,
I mean,
mainly.
but the thing is, because you have all these different choices to make, so you can choose to go with the cop or you can choose to go with the mob and stuff, that instantly feels more like I mean, how many RPGs can you sort of break down into like, oh, just go talk to a guy, go talk to a guy, go talk to or like adventure games? This definitely has like an adventure game feel because you have inventory items. Those inventory items matter about what you can do in the story. So I'd say there's definitely a game here.
Yeah, it's more in the vein of adventure games or sort of walking simulators, or even to an extent sort of point and click games.
Yeah.
But it's definitely.
I mean, it's definitely a point and click adventure game, right? Like it's super like narrative heavy, but you have this inventory system and that sort of gates the choices you can make, and you
It
have to
must be
work
there,
out where
'cause
you
it
can go
could-
now based
Yeah,
on
the shop.
these things.
Mhm.
So I'd say this one is definitely a game,
Can you
even
walk
though it
off
still follows that
side?
pattern.
Yeah.
So you think it is a game because
Yeah.
of the narrative choice? Let's try the shop. Maybe we can buy something. What about poetics and
Poetics again, it's all about sort of finding out like this guy's name, or you know, shooting him down.
wait, is there anything about this that helps us find a game? Find the name?
So the problem is
to help us find a game either.
through the narrative, yes, because it's all about sort of finding these people to help you looking for clues, that kind of thing. but it's not.
Looking for clues, maybe. It doesn't feel like.
That's the thing. It's not really emphasised through the mechanics as much, but.
So now, brother.
What is that?
As a metal
That
badge
is your
from
secret
Simon.
club badge.
Okay.
Gets us in. Oh, he's
Oh,
appeared
now there's a guy there because we have a badge.
What were we saying there? So yeah, I don't know. Like, it doesn't feel like. I guess we're collecting things that we have to get from different places. That's a little bit like the poetics are like they're very abstracted compared to some of the games we've seen where literally you're finding a name. Like either you're collecting lots of different names and like there's a choice from them, or you're collecting like bits of a name and it pieces together in some sort of puzzle way to give you the name. So
if we think way back to the game where you've made a deal with a demon, I think this is quite similar to that. It's a case of you're basically going around collecting sort of items, and you can then use those items to progress through the story and basically get people to help you.
Yeah.
So
but
story engine wise, so
there's
we
definitely one.
we clearly have the choices affecting the story.
Mm-hmm. We clearly have the story affecting the game as well, not necessarily mechanically, but we are seeing sort of characters disappear and reappear at different locations depending on the state of the story and things like that.
Yep. It's a bit of a shame that the dialogue doesn't so much change as just it's either there or not there. So
That's
like,
true.
it's talking to the bartender. We talk to him, and then he's no longer important ever again. It'd be nice if maybe there were just some like incidental dialogues that sort of showed up, depending on where we were in the story. Like even just day 1, day 2, day 3, right? We got the resolution.
yeah.
I think it does a really good job of sort of reflecting the sort of film noir theme. It's clearly put a lot of effort into trying to reflect that well, and it really comes through, I think, in the game.
But that's not what we asked for. What we asked was to reflect the story,
Rumpelstiltskin.
which it sort of does in that theme really nicely. But like, how did we get that? Like, I don't feel like I had any other than picking a bunch of random dialogue choices, which, like, I quite like that. There's like a resolution, all the different ways you go through it, but
Like
I didn't feel like I was playing anything other than the fact I collected a thing.
So that's the thing.
I mean, maybe if I had to do more of that or combinations of that, or I had to think about how to do that.
Exactly, that's the big difference between this and Demon's Deal. Demon's Deal, at the end of the game, presents us with a list of choices, and then based on the clues we found, we pick one of these
Yeah,
things.
you have to actually guess the name.
Whereas this is just, congratulations, you have found the name is in your inventory, and then you go through the dialogue and you tell them the name.
Yeah.
I guess that's
Given that, it's weird that he guessed like Harry and John and stuff first and then the name, but
Yeah.
Yeah, like why don't they give you clues and then you have to guess the name?
so I think
yourself?
that's what really would have pushed up like the sort of like the overall sort of quality of that, sort of really reflecting that sort of really reflecting the story better. But I think as it is, it's still very good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think our summary is that it's quite it's a very well polished and it's a very nice sort of narrative experience, and like good options and good sort of story engine within that, or like reasonably good story engine within the sort of bigger game, maybe not necessarily in the smaller interactions.
Right. Do we cover like techniques and
I'm not
pacing?
sure we did
characters?
technique and
Right.
pacing.
Let's do that. So techniques, dialogue trees. They've got
Really good. I think the dialogue did a good job, like the switching between left and right.
There were a
That
couple
was
of
good.
bits that were a bit annoying. Again, you had that illusion of choice, but then the illusion was very quickly shattered because it's just a case of you have 3 options and only one of them progresses the story. Most times that is fine if you can like hide that from the player, but as it's a case of we just have to keep talking to this guy until we pick the right choice, it becomes frustrating rather than sort of bringing anything to the narrative of the game. But otherwise, yeah, the characterization was done really nice. It was all done sort of through dialogue. But
I like the way they sort of used the audio and the visuals in conjunction with dialogue, particularly at the start with the telephone popping up.
Yep.
It really did enhance the dialogue itself rather than just having, like, say, a wall of text facing you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Character's quite nice.
Mhm.
Anything else? Pacing.
Pacing.
Pacing, like you've got the day breaks and
So
it builds a little bit, but
so
not.
I would have said, yeah, it's sort of lacking a bit there. The one moment I feel that they sort of actually started to manage the pacing quite nicely was where you have that choice of skipping the phone call on the second day.
Yeah.
I think it's a bit let down by the fact that I don't think that phone call on the second day would have been valuable to us because we didn't have any clues, and the only way we could get a clue was by skipping the phone call. So,
Yeah.
but if it was a case of, like I say, if you had those different options, if they had like, I don't know, 10 different options on the screen and we had to guess one of them every day
Yeah.
or something like that, then skipping that phone call suddenly becomes a more important choice. It becomes more dramatic. It really ups the tension of, okay, if we skip this, the next one is going to be our last chance.
Yeah.
So again, I think there's room for improvement, but I still think because they had the sort of the clear time limit of the game, the sort of 3-day structure, it does sort of naturally ramp up. But maybe they could have done more with it.
Yeah, it almost feels like, given there's a lot of sort of visuals and sound used in this game to sort of drive just your interest and like drive the game, using some of that to really build the enhance the pacing could have been valuable. Like maybe make the music a bit more dramatic in the last. Just little things like that would have helped really solidify the fact that it's becoming tenser. Maybe make the dialogue a bit more fraught or something like that to get it across. But okay, right. Reasonably nice one to finish on.
Nice game.
Polished, good overarching story engine, and sort of good use of techniques and dialogue in there. Right, that's our last one of this batch. That's also the last one of this entire coursework. We'll be back in a few weeks' time with the final coursework, the third coursework, and another 30 odd games then. See you around, guys. Say bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
See ya.